Hey guys, most of you know me. My name is Curtis Ward. What you may not know though is that my name means courteous watchman. Curtis means courteous and Ward means watchman. This is the first of what I hope will be many videos, small short devotionals that can help you be encouraged, have something to help you get through the struggles of each day and to overcome the attacks of the enemy in your life. I believe in the power of our words. I believe that we are created in the image of God. God spoke the world into existence. And while we don't have the capabilities of God on that level anyway, I do believe that He created us in His image and that our words have power. Proverbs 18:21 says that death and life are in the power of the tongue. What you speak has power. My name means courteous watchman, okay? When my parents named me that, they had no idea that that's who God ordained me to be, that was the identity that He wanted me in there. Sometimes we have good names, sometimes we have bad names. If you think about Jacob, Jacob in the Bible, he was known as the deceiver. That's what his name meant. But God changed his name to Israel. And God changed it because he was a deceiver. He had become exactly what his name meant. And God had better plans for him. And he took him out of the old and he brought him into the new. Our words are so important. And I believe that if you're a parent and you're about to have a child, be very careful with what you name that child. Heather and I, when we had Caleb and Hannah, we chose the names for them very carefully. We wanted them out of the Bible. We wanted to look and see what those names meant because thankfully we had some grasp of the power of our words. Now it's grown since then, our knowledge and understanding of it. In fact, there's so much that we could talk about. I mean, we have a talk on the identity weekends that we do that focuses on this very thing, the power of our thoughts and our words. And today we don't have time to go into all of it, but I just want you to understand that your words are very important. You have a choice to speak life or death. In fact, you're doing one or the other. Either way, it just depends on if you're not speaking life, you're speaking death. So we've got to be careful, and we need to speak life into our families. We got to speak life into our children. We got to speak life into our marriages, into our job situations, the people that we work with, our boss or our employees, all of those situations. And the other thing about this too is that I want you to be aware of the importance of being thankful and appreciative instead of grumbling and complaining. I used to have a struggle a whole lot more than I do now anyway, with grumbling and complaining. Sometimes we got a lot of stuff going on in our lives. It seems like everything is coming against us sometimes, and we just can't catch a break. And it's really easy to fall into that trap of grumbling and complaining. But the Lord told me something that really shook me up one time. He said, Curtis, He said, when you grumble and complain, you're rejecting my goodness. You're rejecting my provision. And if you think about it, the Israelites, when they were coming out of Egypt, out of slavery, the Lord brought them out of slavery. He was supernaturally providing food for them with manna. But they got tired of it. They wanted some of the things that they had back in Egypt. They didn't want that over and over and over again. And so they began to grumble and complain instead of thanking God that they had something to eat and that they weren't starving. They were rejecting the goodness and they were rejecting the provision of God. And I've never looked at it the same since. There's also a verse in 1 Corinthians chapter 10. And it says here in verse 10 of chapter 10, it says, don't complain, as some of them also complained and were destroyed by the destroyer. Now, it's talking about the people in the Old Testament, okay? It's talking about the people that have lived their lives, and it says also in verse 11, it says, now all these things happened to them as examples, and they were written for our admonition, upon whom the end of the ages has come. And so he says, these people made a mistake, and they opened a door to the enemy, and the destroyer came in, and he worked in their life, and he destroyed them. The destroyer, our enemy, Satan, he's trying to find access into our lives. And one of the ways that he does that is through our words. If we're grumbling and complaining, or if we're speaking death. So I encourage you to be very, very careful with what you speak. Speak life into all situations. Our world is full of death, it's full of darkness. We've got to be a light in that darkness. And one of the ways that we can do that is through our words and how we're speaking to other people. Throughout these devotionals, I'm going to try to fulfill my calling as a watchman. I'm going to try to wake up the body of Christ, to get us ready for the second coming of Jesus, and to help us to be that very light in the darkness, to stand for truth in an age of deception, and to be the watchman and to cry out against the things that are around us. I pray that this has spoken to your heart. If you need help, if you need ministry, if you have any questions, you can email me at curtis@rootsbythestream.com. I hope that you have a wonderfully blessed day.